Sunday. I am the High Priestess Phoenix, your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, messenger of God, child of God, evangelist, North American Sybil. I am the Lilith reincarnated, here with another one. I actually have my reading ready for us to read. I'm gonna have to do it on the charger now that we're doing this. To finish up part 2 of our teachings today, we're going to read from the Bible, and then we also have a light workers card. But I just shared a video of Joe Bartolozzi, and he was talking about mind-altering substances. And I knew it was going to be great, and each of the conversations were very good to have. But I stopped when he was talking about weed. He said something very, very important. He said, the only downside, what I consider to be a downside, is when I'm high, when I smoke weed, I feel like I'm not being productive. I'm not doing my best. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not getting things done. The right pothead would tell you you're smoking the wrong weed. No, it has nothing to do with that, because he proceeds to tell you that this is a benefit for him, because if he doesn't find something to stop him, nothing will stop him. So in essence, he needs this substance to come in and stop him and make him chill. But at the same time, he feels guilty for chilling, is what he says. All the substance that he's talking about, having a cup of coffee, we haven't gone any further, but he talked with caffeine, he talked about cigarettes, he talked about marijuana. All of those are a pause for the cause. You know what I mean? You stop to have a cup of coffee. In the middle of everything, you know what I mean? Your caffeine, whatever that may be, whatever that may look like to you. I did not know about all those juicer drinks, but I guess men do it too. And the essence is like, you know what I mean? This makes me feel better. This helps me through my day. Okay? And you know, weed especially, you know, Cat Williams did a great show about it. It's like you need some fuck it in your life. It's a de-stressor, same as a cigarette. I'm gonna go have a cigarette so that I can, you know what I mean, defuse. I'm gonna make me a cup of tea. I'm gonna have a drink. These are diffusers, right? Now, they're considered mind-altering substances because the state of mind you were in before you put this substance in you changes when you put this substance in you. Now, the conversation that is being had is the pros and cons of the shift in your mentality and how that can look. You know what I mean? And so you can see, you know, if you own it. So he doesn't own it. He says that he smokes weed 5 times a week. 5 to 6 times a week, but only at night. Yeah, that's one thing potheads will do. I remember my cousin, I used to be like that too. It's too fucking early. I can't fucking start my day all high like that. Again, they were smoking the wrong weed. No, I don't want to fucking smoke something that's going to put me to sleep and make me all lazy and I can't think. I got to think. I just woke up. I need caffeine. I need to think straight. You know what I mean? Where does that? Then you get this, you get a sativa. You know what I mean? That's light caffeine. You know, but that unwinding weed is indica, bro. And most all weeds right about now are hybrids, so they lean, which is like, imagine a scale. There's the sleepy weed, and there's the, you know what I mean, caffeinated weed, right? There's melatonin, you know, a cup of tea at night or a cup of coffee, in the sense of when you go out to purchase weed, what this could do to you. Depending on how you consume it is how high you're going to be, bro. If you're eating that shit, you're putting that shit into your bloodstream, and you have to wait till it burns out of your bloodstream. When you're smoking that shit, you just got to wait till that shit gets out of your stomach and your lungs. And you could put something else in your stomach to get rid of it. But when it's in your blood, nah, bro. And that's where you got to watch out with this consumption. Now, the misperception is he believes him not to be a pothead because he doesn't consume like others. Are your coke friends not crackheads? Because of how they consume it. That's where this prissiness of that comes into play. Is right? So then there's these people that, you know what I mean, that vape it, that do it in a liquid form, secretly, hiding it. And, you know, will sit there, and it's one of the most expensive forms, and it's stronger than any weed I'll ever fucking buy. I could smoke a whole ounce to the face in a day and never be as high as these people that take one hit off their little pin. True story. Or as somebody takes an edible. I don't fuck around. That's like, I'm going to take that before bed and hope that I wake up in the next morning type shit. And what it is it stops you. You got caffeine, which, you know what I mean, starts you. And then you got marijuana, which stops you. You know what I mean? And he's going to go into other mind-altering substances. And I want to get into the mushrooms because, again, people do it recreationally. For what? To have a mental experience. What happens when you get in there? And again, it comes down to consumption, too. If you put too much of anything, it's going to tip the scales. This isn't going to be good. Too much of anything is never good. Never good. Oh, I shouldn't have ate all that food. Yeah, it was good when it started, but then you couldn't stop yourself, and now you gotta, you're literally holding your belly, and you hope that you're gonna poop later. When is this gonna move down my stomach? This hurts so bad. You guys eat like that? As a binge purge eater, you know what I mean, where my stomach stays empty forever, when I put shit in there, man, it's a process, bro. Processing food is a process. As I'm sitting here smoking weed, I smoke weed all fucking day, bro. I probably smoke more weed than cigarettes. I don't smoke like fucking like Snoop Dogg because he smokes unbelievable fucking really strong quality weed. Again, he has a tolerance to that shit. And he smokes a larger amount of it. I'll light the same joint for about 3 fucking hours. I'll sit there holding the same bowl for 2 hours. You know what I mean? It's not the amount of consumption. Now, in the sense of, what am I doing? I'm entering a different state. As a high priestess or something like that, that's what they did. As the shamans, you come into the tent and hit the pipe. Whether it would have been tobacco, peyote, marijuana, even mushrooms. Whereas we're going to take you out of your conscious and into your, you know what I mean, into your subconscious. And that's what all of those speak of. And I just wanted to talk about it is because he feels guilty for not being in the conscious. You're not supposed to be consciously active when smoking marijuana. That's the point of it. It's a chill pill. But then you're mad that you're not chilling, or you're mad, that you're chilling. That's why I can't smoke indica, because I'll sit there like my body wants to do, my mind is telling me to do all kinds of things, but my fucking body won't get up and do shit. I can't even get it to go to the refrigerator. Yeah, but some people like that, dude. After their body, if you work a night shift and you can't sleep, bro. You're like insomniac, bro. You need something to put your ass to sleep. When when you fucking stayed up all night and you wake up in the morning all groggy, you need something to help you wake the fuck up. Okay, but, again, he's telling you how we become, addicted and whatnot. We've been talking about addictions and that whole situation. It's like, where is the line? And it's just kind of funny because, like, he says that, he won't wear the condemnation of being a pothead. He won't say that he's a drinker, an avid drinker. You know what I mean? He won't wear this because of how he does it. Because he doesn't do it like everyone else, he's not what the label is. You have to, what? You're no better than anybody. But there's nothing wrong in what we're doing. In the essence, going on to the cokeheads, what's the difference between somebody that does cocaine and crack? The way they consume it. The difference between cocaine and crack is they take the powdered cocaine and they add baking soda to it and make it a rock form that they smoke. Marijuana, you can, as I do, I take the flowers and I smoke the flower. There's people that take the flower, they brew it up and take all of the good stuff out of it and then they put it into food. Or they'll put it into a liquid form. And all of that. It's still marijuana. It's just the more you do with it, the stronger it gets. So they take that cocaine that instead of putting it in their nose, you know what I mean? That it has to wait for it to go down their nose and down their throat and into their bloodstream. They can smoke it instead and have a faster rush. But again, it's not sitting in their bloodstream, so you're not going to be on a coke high for 4 hours. This is a very fast high, as I just told you, as fast as you blow out the smoke. You know what I mean? And so it's about the consumption, and you know what I mean? And it's also about that. It's like, someone like you guys can drink hella fucking liquor, but if you give, you know what I mean? And that's what it is about children. It's like their body stream. How is their body going to, you know what I mean? How fast can their body consume this? You know what I mean? Can it eat it up? And what's going to be the effect on the body while it's eating through this shit? And that's just kind of how that goes. I saw something on the news that said some woman was being charged because her daughter, she put a fucking a nicotine patch on her daughter, and the daughter almost died. Why did she do that? I don't know. She was high, I guess. She just wanted to see what would happen at the expense of another. Who knows? That's where we get really into the fucking psyche. Is like, where were you when you made that bold decision to make a huge mistake? I just wanted to point that out. It's like, nobody smokes weed to be smart. We smoke weed to chill. You shouldn't feel bad about chilling. And that's it. It's like, you know what I mean? There's those that, like, yeah, it can impair what you were doing, but obviously if you were doing something, you didn't just stop to smoke a joint. You had time to stop and chill. And if you're busy, your life is so busy, you don't really, you know what I mean? Like, when I have shit to do, I'm too busy to stop and smoke some weed. I don't stop everything I'm doing just to smoke weed. And, I will with a cigarette, though. I need to calm down for a minute. I'm too busy. I need to calm down for a minute. Let me just calm down for a minute. And that's how people are after a hard day's work or whatever the case may be. They just need to calm down. And then when you get into this alcoholism, it's like they wake up with that. They need to calm down. And you're like, damn, you're having a Bloody Mary or a mimosa? That's what alcohol for breakfast is called, a mimosa. Or a Bloody Mary. Fucking screwdriver. As long as you put it with juice, it's acceptable at breakfast. You put your beer with a juice called a michelada, it's acceptable. In the sense of, why are they drinking? Because they need to chill. I'm just staying paused on that. What do you do to chill? Or you never chill? I'm not condoning drug use. What happened with me and when I started doing mushrooms? I was terrified of psychedelics. I was terrified of my mind. I was terrified of the stories I heard. I was terrified if I put something like that in there, what would come out of me? When I was in my music and everything, you know what I mean? Again, social events, everybody's on something. The biggest thing that I saw people on was Adderall. I didn't understand it because I was giving it to my kid to chill him out, and they're over there getting hyped off of it. It was just like, okay, I just held on to my purse real tight because I had my kids as fucking, you know what I mean? What is Adderall? Ritalin, pretty much. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay. And the essence of, I'm losing my mind secretly. And somebody tells me that there's somebody over there that they're feeling good because they're on some mushrooms. And I remember watching a documentary that they use mushrooms for, you know what I mean, mental health. And so I approach him and I ask him and I start, you know what I mean, experimenting on my own. And then when I start talking to, psychologists, I tell them, it's in my file, I told them that I was doing completely. I told them the drugs that I was taking, you know what I mean, that I had been put on the diet pill, which was a stimulant, which was meth on a pill, you know what I mean, that slowed my mind down because I had ADHD mind already going. And then I told them that I was microdosing to take off this intensity of the feelings, the emotions that I was visualizing, the memories that were surfacing. And then I also told him, of course, that I smoke weed and cigarettes and drink coffee all damn day too. So I'm just, I'm a whole chemical warfare over here. I might throw a meal in about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I like Oreos in the middle of the night. This is how I run my life. This is my adult life. Anyway, so I tell them that, and they're like, she honestly says that. I'm going to the meds doctor. I make this video. It's not in there. I hid all those videos. I'm going to the meds doctor. I make a before and after, and she decides not to put me on any meds. She says that if it's working for me, there's no need to change it. Meaning my self-medication was working for me, and her professional, capabilities, understanding what each of these meds did, she had no desire to change my own self-made regimen. But later, I got into a fight with the guy that I was getting the mushrooms from, and I had to face it, and it was really hard. In the essence of just the feelings, they're very intense. So I told you I have mushrooms. I don't take them to hallucinate or anything. I take them to turn my feelings off. Or down, to be honest. You can't ever really turn them off. But it turns them down. But other people, you know what I mean, they can use that experience to go into, you know what I mean? And that's what I said too. When I started getting a hold of my emotional being and stuff, I started telling people when I started becoming spiritual, I was like, guys, you watched me do all these fucking, you know what I mean, all these mushrooms. You saw me fucking working all this time with my conscious. I got in there and now there's a lot of unconscious things that are happening. And that's really what it is you took this to visit the unconscious, to leave the conscious mind, the worries of this mind. Something as simplistic as a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and I keep saying that because it's an herb that's filled with caffeine. I don't know if you realize it, it's really expensive and hard to find a tea that doesn't have caffeine in it. It's really hard to find. They all are full of caffeine. You take that or you take any of your drinks, they're full of sugar, all of this stuff. You know what I mean? We're tuned up, bro. We got that fucking, you know what I mean? We're running off of some serious substance abuse already. You know what I mean? They were giving us soda in our bottles and shit. You ever see that parent that puts soda in a bottle? You're like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. And shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, why? Because their parents did it. It's okay. Look away. Now you wonder, now you're like, where's that kid? Oh, they're in jail right now. Oh, no surprise. No surprise at all. In the essence of nature, nurture, and everything we're putting into us. But some of these things I want to point out to you is like, as much as they were demonized, they were taken away because of the misunderstanding. But once the government caught on, bro, they took over. And that's what it is right now. You can't buy a weed off of a person. You have to go buy it off of a, you know what I mean, an establishment that monitors it. They tell you, you know what I mean? It has to meet requirements according to the government, and it has to be regulated, and they get their fucking, dude, the taxes on weed are unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's way more than 10%, depending on what county you're in. I think it's at least 10%, though. They're getting money off of it, bro. They're getting money. And people that are, you know, saucy and shit, they want to smoke the best weeds and shit. They're paying, like, seriously, they're paying like 60 to like 80 bucks for an eighth of weed. I pay $5, dude. I buy fucking shake bags for $6, and I make them last for 2 days. These people will get one, and that's enough for like a blunt, 2 blunts. But I roll little pinner joints, and I sit here, you know what I mean, puffing on them forever. Pack the same bowl for like hours and shit. It's just me. I don't share with anyone, so it lasts for a long time. And it's always been that way. I've never been in crowds, you know, smoking, so I never had to buy lots of weed. And it doesn't matter if I smoke really good weed right now. I'm more of a religious smoker. I smoke it like on a time period. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I do a dab with you right now, I'm still going to want to smoke a joint. Because it's more of a, like, it's just kind of a habit. You know what I mean? Some people have to have their cup of water with them everywhere. You know, they have to have their water bottle everywhere they go. Or they have to, you know, before I can sit down, let me get my coffee. Or let me get my, you know what I mean? Let me get my soda. Let me get my whatever. It's just something kind of like that. But, you know, I just wanted to explain, you know, more about being a pothead, I guess, and what that really is. And that's like, it's demonized because you ain't doing shit. No, I'm in my divine feminine right now. I'm being receptive. I'm seeing visions and hearing, you know what I mean? I'm reviewing. You know, it's a moon day energy is what it is. It's going to sit you down and make you think about some shit. Or not think at all. Stop thinking about shit the way that you did. It's a higher perception. It's a mind altering, meaning this is going to alter your perception of how you view things. And that's those beer goggles and shit. No, shit, you don't look the same in the morning. That never happens with a cigarette, bro. I just want to tell you that. Mushrooms, oh yeah, for sure. What did you see? Dude, I saw something totally different in that wall. You're all touching the wall like, is this real? You see so much shit that you're like, this world isn't even real. You see the unreal and it's become so real. It makes so much more sense than the real world you live in. Like, this shit is so fake. Peyote, have I done it? No, I was banned, dude. They ripped out the plants. They took them all away from the fucking... They took them away. If you got it, it was from the natives. You can't even get sage, bro. The native sage, like if they grow it in, you know what I mean, on their reservation, it's only for the elders. I found that out in freaking Oklahoma. You know what I mean? They took it all away. The government took away all of the healing remedies, you know, stuff like marijuana and shit like that. Alcohol, like they took... And that's what it is. It's like they really couldn't. They took away alcohol, but all alcohol is again, fermented fucking fruits and vegetables. Vodka, I think, is made out of potatoes. Something like that. You know what I mean? The grapes make wine. Something beer's made from yeast or something like that. I don't know, something about hops, what has to do with grains. Bobby knows all about that. He knows how to brew beer. So they said you couldn't have such things, but if you had the knowledge, you could have it. There was a price to pay to have, you know what I mean, old skills like that, you know, and that was it, like moonshine and shit like that. You could grow your own weed, you just couldn't get caught growing it. You know what I mean? You could have your own tobacco plants, your own, you know, stuff like that. And that's it. These things were given to us of the earth. And today we talked about Mother Earth and all of that. It's like the poppy plant can heal all kinds of things, but then you fuck around and turn it into heroin and we got a problem. But what is a safer synthetic of it? Morphine? Where we can take a person that's just had their fucking leg cut off and we can put them out of their pain. Do you know what I mean? That's what that is. It's a plant. You know, aspirin, all of this stuff comes from plants. All of it. All of it. But you sit there and brew the wrong shit and, you know, people will be all fucked up and shit. So I'm going to stop there and probably continue the video or not, enjoy the rest of my joint, and then go upstairs and give you another reading. But, you know, there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, they're just a pothead and shit. They're just a drunk. They're just this. What's wrong with those people? They step out of your reality and into an alternate reality. Is Joe Bart any less Joe Bart if you call him a pothead? And I want to point out that we started the weekend with Marshall Mathers is a junkie. Whoa, I lost complete connection for like 3 minutes when I said we started this weekend with Marshall Mathers is a junkie. What made him do drugs? Because it looked appealing. Everybody was doing it. And it was a way to escape his current reality, which really sucked. Was he any less productive? No. Did he create some of his best work? Yes. That's what they go, you know, to Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne sucked on you know what I mean? A dirty bottle this whole time and created fucking unbelievable shit. And then you want to ask yourself, was it the drugs and the alcohol that brought out this person? You know what I mean? Was Slim Shady the actual success of Marshall Mathers? No. Only when you are allowed to be Slim Shady were you allowed to be your most successful person. You needed to step into another substance to be a different part of you. People drink, you know what I mean? They go out and drink, and they're still them, just a different part of them, a more vibrant part of them, a more untamed part of them, where they can really let go without the consequences. And, you know, as much as, you know, we look at people, like he said, in their 20s and shit, and it's all forgivable because we all have done it. But then once you get to your 30s, you're supposed to stop doing that. And if you're 40s, you're really sickening. And any further, then you've got a problem and you should be admitted into a hospital. Something similar to that, right? In the essence, it's all forgivable, you know what I mean, to a certain age group or, you know, person. But, you know, if you're that person, and that's where it is, it's like, then you go out in your 30s and you try to do it, and you can't do it like you used to. You're like, I still have it in me. No, the fuck you don't. It's going to take you a long time learning that lesson. And that's what he was talking about. He's like, dude, these hangovers, this isn't real. Dude, I had started drinking since I was like 13. I never had my first hangover till the day of my 21st birthday. At midnight, I had one drink, and that's why I don't like fucking bourbons. It was fucking Jack Daniels, Jack and Coke. Happy birthday, it's your birthday, have a drink. The next morning, I woke up, and I had never felt like that in my life, bro. It was everything that people said a hangover was. Fucked up my whole day. One drink. It was disgusting. Never did it before. Before that, no, I lived in Mexico. At 16, I was going to clubs with grown-ass people. Like, literally $20 all you could drink. You didn't see me till the next morning. Seriously? I swear. He said, talking about throwing up. I didn't know how to drink without throwing up. It tasted good going down. I knew that I was going to throw up every fucking time. I knew when to put my finger down my throat, how to get over it, and move on. It was part of the drinking process. I never went home with a full belly. I went home and ate. That's it. I had to get all this shit out so I could put some food in that bitch. I was like that, but in essence, like, you know. And that's what's funny. It's like, you can see a grown-ass person, invite them to your wedding, you give them one drink, and they're out there acting like they're in their fucking 20s. They're in their underwear, like, doing the mostest. It's like, you just brought out a part of them that only alcohol can bring out of them. And it's a damn shame, because that part needed to come out without that drink. And that's kind of where it is that's only when it's acceptable for you to be your wildest. You can only act a fool when you're in the club or, you know, in a drink in your hand. Act a fool any time without no drinks. But that's where it is. That's when you're your boldest, your bravest. You know what I mean? And so going back to smoking weed, that's like when you're your most intellectual. You're most, you know what I mean? You would say you're unfocused, but you're your most focused. You're your most grounded version of yourself. You're very stable. And that goes back to Snoop Dogg. That's all he does. He's a professional weed smoker. He was guilted into it in the 90s, maybe 2000. He made this big old campaign about how he was going to retire smoking weed. He really did. I think he came back a year later, and he's all about life. I just want to point out, though, he didn't make his own weed. He had to make weed and contribute to Pac, because Pac's weed would sell better than his. What an idiot, right? Idiot. You know what I mean? Going back to Mike Tyson. He found joy in weed. So he made his own weed. This is a man that, you know what I mean, that fought his whole life, and he enjoys sitting down and, you know what I mean, being a kid and laughing, eating good foods, playing video games, being silly, questioning everything about life. One more time. Why do they call it a motherfucking love seat? You ain't never got high? I said that in my earlier video. You know that Lewis never smoked a weed? You know those beginner smokers that are so annoying? That's me anytime. If you sit with me, I'll annoy the shit out of you. They're all, yes. Yes, and that's it too. It's like, you know what I mean? Give a kid a kid. Yep. Remember all of that. And that wasn't bad. We weren't condemned to it. In essence, they condoned it, and they provided this experience for us. We weren't old enough to fucking buy weed or buy alcohol or anything. Somebody provided this experience that everyone experienced, and we experienced it all different. We all have our stories to tell. If we all got together right now, bro, with the one exception of somebody like Mr. Plum, who's never had a drink. Ali's probably never drink. It's against his religion. You know what I mean? Lewis probably has a story. He has a sneaky story. He's up there all the time fucking chugging fucking champagne. Does he know the taste of anything better? No, he makes some non-alcoholic tequila. But he knows the taste of tequila, which means he had drank before. In the essence of take the sting off. Whatever. So when I drink this, I can act wild with you? I just wanted to trick you to see what you were going to do. My way with you. It makes people think that I'm over it. I'm not. I'm interviewing you. Interview with the vampire. The dance with the devil, as you say. I'm not the devil in this story. I'm Mother Mary in this story, if you haven't realized. Chastised and all. You're the devil in this story. The devil wears Prada. Or it could be that guy. Anyways, going back to... Man, fucking, what is your fucking name, bro? Jailhouse Rock. I hear Elvis talking about devils or something. She's a devil. She's the devil in disguise. Oh, yeah, I can hear all those songs and shit. There's just, you know, it's a big song and dance. And that's it, too. It's like, I don't need to be high for this shit to happen no more. No, I try to chill it out, getting high. It's like, what else am I going to do here? I got to sit and have some... That's what I said. I can't just sit here staring into space. At least if I have a cigarette in my hand, I think I'm smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? If I smell like something, you know. Do I really smoke all day? Nah, I got to say, I'm pretty sure everybody smokes more than me. I'm positive of it. Like, looking at Mike, for sure he smokes hella more weed. Logic, hella more weed. The fucking Royce, hella more weed in their blunts. They may not smoke it at certain days, certain parts of the day, because they be all fucking smoking that I ain't doing shit type weed. and shit. But no, I don't smoke like that. But pretty much, the difference is I don't get high like you. And that's where people say, I drink, but I don't get drunk like you. And there's nothing wrong with all of that shit because it's part of the experience. Again, you can't do that shit in heaven. There's no weed in heaven, bro. Really? There's no consumption of nothing. There's nothing to fill yourself with. You're already filled. There's no searching for pleasure. All pleasure is had. We come here to feel what it feels like to have experiences that we don't necessarily have to have. As a divine being, you just watch the beings live their lives. You don't, unless you're like Lucifer, you don't long, or, myself, you don't long for, you don't envy, you don't want. You just wonder. I wonder why they're acting like that. What are they really feeling? You know what I mean? And then you convince yourself, I'm going to be human. Are you sure? Haven't you watched them long enough? I'm going to do this. I have. I've watched them long enough that there's certain things I want to see. And you make this list. And you go to God. God, can I be human? What do you want to do down there? I want to do all this stuff. Okay, but in order to do this stuff, you're going to have to learn a lot of lessons. You can't take on partial experiences. You have to have a human experience. How long does that last? Forever and ever. I mean, in essence, when you sit there watching them forever and ever, it doesn't feel like forever. Their lives go so fast. You watch it. You can watch it. What? You don't have to sit with them every minute of it. It's just a blink. You see them grow, and you see their whole life in the blink of an eye. You're like, I can do it. Then you get down here, and you realize time exists, and everything matters. But if you're sitting there watching them from outside, a day isn't as long as a day is here. You know what I mean? And you're just watching them move around real quick like. You're watching them waste away. You're watching these ants move around on this planet. They're doing all kinds of shit. And then you just watch them die. I think they said like a bee lives like some crazy amount of time. I think it's like something like 45 days or something. I don't know, 17 days. They say a fly only lives 3 days. It's like you only have, so much time and you fill it up with all this bullshit. And then you're dead. So you're like, no, I want to have one of those lives. They're real fast. Not before, dude. Hundreds. And so instead, what he did is he cut it down so you could have a bunch of little lives instead of one long-ass life. So that it was more exciting, more vibrant. And that's what we're supposed to embrace in our one long-ass life that we have now, is a bunch of little lives. And that's what they call those life accords, those life changing, you know what I mean, where you go from, adolescence, where these milestones. But you could jump around and have all the life you want while you're here. And that's someone like Lewis who tries to, when he has some free time, he tries to do things that he never did before that he thinks other people, or that he could do too. He's very competitive, so he always tries to do, athletic shit. He's in a world of athletes, so he gets to know athletes, and then he finds out what they do, and he wants to go over and learn from them and try to do it better than them or be like them or, have something in common. As an athlete, you think that you can be athletic in all areas. You just need the training. It's just about training. So it's like, you go and make a friend and learn some shit, and so he does shit like that, and it's like, just kind of spread yourself and you spread your wings and enjoy yourself and shit like that. So it all started with altering substances that we shouldn't be dependent on. But at the same time, you understand the dependence on the substance and where the substance comes from and what the substance is entitled to, what it's made to do. You know what I mean? So that's that story, and I'll move on and we'll do a card read in a little bit. Okay? Okay. Later.